Jung, an empiricist, described lying and its opposite, truth-telling, in terms of efficacy. A truth when it works, and a lie when it doesn't work, it is not valid. Similarly, Jung stated, "We can know something is true because it helps us live to live properly." According to Jung, believing in fake facts and clinging to alternate realities is not the way to live properly. Jung recognized abnormal conditions as a psychiatrist, one of which he labeled pseudologia fantastica, or pathological lying. The liar lies unthinkingly, without a moment's hesitation in this mental disease. The pathological liar will tell a lie just by opening their mouth. Furthermore, for the individual suffering from this disorder, lying has become so routine that the liar is unaware he or she is lying. Says he has come to believe the lies. Jung also observed how pathological lying may corrupt the liar's character, appearing in characteristics such as shadow projection, falsification of reality, determination to impress by fair or foul means, bluffing, and double-crossing. Liars will rail against individuals who take advantage of others while engaging in the same behavior. Or they will promote as a great advancement a medical test that does not work, or they will fabricate a slew of achievements, degrees, and qualifications on a phony resume. Jung on politicians and technologists. Jung was a keen observer of his surroundings, and he observed that certain groups were more prone to deception than others. Politicians, with their politico-social delusional systems, Jung believed, were especially vulnerable to monkey tricks that poison the utterly incompetent mind of the masses. Jung published these remarks in the mid-20th century, and they are even more relevant today, as entire television networks spew lies on a regular basis in order to increase ratings and market share by tickling the ears of its listeners. Any feeling of higher obligation to the truth or the ultimate well-being of people and the nation is sacrificed to hungry greed. Jung thought the tech types were no better. Jung stated unequivocally that technology provides nothing to overcome our spiritual stagnation, nor does it provide an answer to our spiritual dissatisfaction and restlessness. Instead, developers of new technologies design equipment and software that encourage addiction and provide additional incentives to live in virtual realities. Techies, through their video games, social media, and other products, are enticing us to stray away from the truth and turn aside to myths. Even worse than addicting individuals are recurrent instances of fraud, as avarice pushes ostensibly brilliant technologists to promote innovations in businesses founded on lies. Jung was well aware that much of these liars' and fraudsters' previous success was made possible by the naivety and lack of critical thinking on the part of apparently sophisticated and experienced people, such as venture capitalists and technocrats. Why is there such complicity? We must evaluate Jung's appraisal of our collective reality in order to address this question. Jung on the current state of our society. Politicians work in a field where the construction of an artificial persona is an unavoidable necessity. The duties of propriety and good manners are an additional incentive to put on a suitable disguise. What happens behind the mask is thus referred to as private life. As a result, there's a painfully familiar division of consciousness. The politician is unlikely to investigate this division because he or she is typically a strong extrovert, focused on the outside world rather than introspection or self-criticism. In the face of these realities, we should not expect our political leaders to be immune to deception. Leaders of technological companies and venture investors are not running non-profit organizations that serve the public good. They are guys living in our materialistic world. Given this reality, we should not expect them to be motivated by altruism. Greed is a major motivator for many people's actions in our modern society, and it can lead to many people doing or being complicit in illegal or deceitful behavior. As critical as Jung was of politicians and technocrats, he realized that we, the general public, are also to blame for the state of our society. Are we always loyal and well-informed voters? Do we educate ourselves on the assumptions and ideals that underpin modern technologies? Do we make an effort to comprehend the inner workings of our social and economic systems? Or do we neglect to vote, fail to investigate the forces behind the development of our technological equipment, and avoid confronting the structures within which we live our lives? Why is lying becoming more acceptable? To answer this issue, we must remember that we are living during the transition from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, that perilous and perplexing period when traits from both eons appear in daily life. Jung deduced from the Pisces glyph that the two fish indicate two intervals, the 1,000 years of Christ and the 1,000 years of the Antichrist, called Satan. We have been living in the latter half of the 1000 year period, which has seen numerous satanic actions, such as the Napoleonic Wars, the American Civil War, the annihilation of hundreds of indigenous cultures, World Wars I and II, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Holocaust and other genocides, and a persistent tendency to define deviancy downward, as Daniel Patrick Moynihan observed. Moynihan defined deviant behavior as the public's rising willingness to tolerate or dismiss moral failings, such as lying. How tempting it is to place all of the blame out there, on politicians, technologists, fraudsters who find a way to make a quick buck, and liars who build personas for personal gain. But Jung would have us acknowledge our projections and understand that we live in a time of diabolical temptations, a time when our personal and collective unconsciousnesses are reflected in the society we have. If we want to become more conscious, which is one of Jung's major goals for us, we must recognize society as the agglomeration of all the non-entities composing it, and these non-entities may include us, unless we commit to the difficult and lonely task of acting justly and loving mercy and walking humbly with our God, which cannot be mammon.